We're going to give them a table of points that you want them to graph.
Right.
And are you going to show that there's a positive correlation?
Yes.
Okay,
So
so price is going up as the winter months start coming in.
Yeah.
Okay, so as it starts getting colder, then they can kind of understand the story.
Right.
You know, yes.
Well, before this, I'm gonna tell them, hey, remember what Miss Urban said about the skater, and then I'll probably draw like the positive slope going
Okay.
this way, and
Okay.
the negative, and then probably draw the skater board. If it dropped, then they know this is. I'll probably tap into their prior knowledge of this.
Right, so that they get a positive correlation, negative correlation,
Right, and then
no correlation.
So I'm gonna talk about that first before I move into this. This is
Okay.
maybe like an activity, and then I'll use
Right.
like the example from the book.
Okay,
To start off the lecture, and then the real data, that's the activity. I'm thinking using a group, like groups of four,
Okay.
to actually see, oh, hey, I'm seeing it this way, then maybe
Okay.
another person can explain it
okay.
better than I could.
And I have graph paper, so
Okay.
let's give them graph paper, so that they can, and then you'll have to make sure that you go over with them the scale. You know,
Right.
make sure, because if they make a scale one, they make it too big or too small, like the month, it's going to be pretty straightforward. They
Right.
just put the first letter of the month, and then you need to know kind of what their range is. So if the highest it's going to be is $5 per pound or whatever, then they need to know that they need to make that scale so that they can spread things out, right? Because it could be might be 2 blocks for one, so that they can get $1.50, $3.50, and it'd be on the line,
Perfect.
something like that.
So for today's objectives, you guys will apply what you learned so far, your slope and y-intercept form.
Para la gente van a aplicar lo que ya han aprendido sobre la información y el intercepto de la Y.
And after that, I'll be giving you guys a set of data that you'll be using to differentiate between the independent and dependent variables of x and y, and then you use the order pair.
Después va a dar datos para que ustedes, con coordinados, para que ustedes lo... Van a ver la relación entre los dos pares de información y encontrar la ecuación de una línea.
Any question?
No.
So like I was saying before, scatter plot is a set of data. We give you points, but not just one, many. And you need to, you can choose which one which one goes on your axis and your y-intercepts. And they too represent relationship. The slope, whether it's negative, positive, or no relationship at all.
Entonces que le van a dar varios puntos y ustedes tienen que ver si son, van en una línea, ¿no? En una línea. Entonces van a ver si es negativo o positivo la línea, pero todos van en la misma línea. Son varios puntos.
So remember when Mr. Urban gave you guys X and Y table, and then he asked you to do an order pair? So basically, I'll be giving you guys an X and a Y, and you use the order paired, and then you plot the graph. You see that? It's a dot. So that's what we call them scatter plot.
Dice que van a usar la tabla para poner los puntos en la gráfica.
So now, like I said before, I will not give you guys one order pair. I'll be giving you guys a lot of points, maybe 24 to 50 points, and you guys need to figure it out which one will go on your X's and your Y's.
Se le va a dar varios puntos y ustedes tienen que saber dónde van a ir en la gráfica.
So remember this, the slope, is this a positive? Is this a positive or negative slope? Do you know why?
It's up, it's negative.
Well, this is positive, you guys are right. Like Mr. Urban said last week or 2 weeks ago, he used a skater as a way to figure out whether he's going up or going down. And what about this one?
Negative is down.
Wow.
Positive.
This is positive, this is negative. Positivo, negativo.
Clica la flecha, nena. Clica la flecha. Derecha, la flecha.
So now what if I give you a lot of points, a lot of dots without putting the line? So what can you tell me about this one compared to this one? Are they the same?
Yeah, it's like
Exactly. So
Está preguntando si les da este ejemplo, son puros puntos, no tienen la línea.
So
¿Qué me
what-
pueden decir sobre eso?
the ones are
Es
positive.
igual porque va en la misma dirección.
Es lo mismo. Konnichiwa.
So basically, when you draw the line, you kind of just look at it, does it look straight? And then you try to connect the dot. See, it is going up. Do I put the skater there? And then what about this one? Good job. So again, if I were to draw a line, you just kind of eyeball it and then draw the line. And then that one is negative. What about this one?
Positive.
Yes, no relationship. Good job. There is no relationship.
Smart.
So when you have something like this, you can't say whether it's positive or negative. You simply say there is no relationship. And then we just draw the lines. And then when you draw the lines, after that you need to find the equation of the line. Do you remember how to find the equation of the line?
Oh,
The slope form?
Yes.
Finding the slope. Do you guys remember that?
so M equal.
Remember that one?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
When I give you two sets of points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, you take y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you pick any point from here, from the line, and then you pick any points, and then you use the formula to find your slope. And then, after you find the slope, you plug it in, and then you find the line equations, which is y equals mx plus b. You guys got it?
Yeah.
So, I'll give you guys one example. Who likes to go to Six Flags? You guys like to go to Six Flags? Roller coaster? So my example is this. So you know how roller coaster, you go all the way to the top, and then you drop down, and it looks like this. So I'm gonna give you a data starting from 1988. How tall it is, how far, or basically the vertical drop. I'll be giving you guys the height here, which is in feet. And then I'll give you guys the years, like since 1988. So for instance, I'll give you guys year 1.
Y nos va a dar la información sobre una montaña rusa. Les va a enseñar cómo ha cambiado durante los años, empezando del año 1988, cómo han cambiado la altura de las montañas rusas. Okay, va a enseñar cómo, ¿ven cómo está la gráfica? Está como casi como una ola. La forma de abajo es de cómo se cae la montaña rusa. Lo que sube y lo que baja, ¿no? Entonces aquí va a enseñar los cambios. ¿Cómo me va a hacer en mi carrito?
So I'm going to give you guys first year, third year, fifth, eighth, 12th year, and then another 12th year. So the first year, the vertical drop was 151. The third year, 152, 55, sorry. And then 225, 230, 306, 300, and then we went down at 225, 255, and then the 13th year, 225, 400.
¿Cómo ha cambiado la caída de la montaña rusa? En pies. Entonces, arriba, la X es los años desde 1978, y abajo es cómo ha cambiado en pies la caída de la montaña rusa. Desde en un año, el primer año no estaba en 151, 51 primero. Después de 3 años, 55 subió. Y en 5 años después a 200 y algo, ¿verdad? 103, fue subiendo. Y no sé que en el 8º año, estoy viendo, ahí en el 12, miren, está como 3 veces ahí. Parece como que lo cambiaron, lo subieron, lo bajaron, no se estabilizó, último año, volvió a subir en el 15. Sí, entonces tienen que ver la relación.
So when you're looking at the graph, how do you do it? How do you do this?
We have to. Here. This under the front side. Underneath.
Underneath?
Yeah, on the front side, front side. You need another one?
So what would you put on your X coordinate? You want to put the years or the vertical drop? The years? Okay. So we got 1. Well, let's do 5. 10. And 20. And then the vertical is, no, that's the X. What about the vertical? The vertical? Okay. So now we have 400, 350, So, if you were to plot the first year and 151 feet, which one would you, where would you put it? So you put 1, okay, so about right there. What about year 3? 155. So about right there. And then what about the 5th year? 225? So about right here?
230.
And then what about the 8th year? 230? So you go about right here. And year 12?
306.
So about right there. And then you got 300. And then 255. And then 13, 255. And what about 15? 400? So if you were to graph the line, where do you think it will go? This way, that way? If you were to eyeball it, where do you think the graph? Is it this way?
Yes.
Or that way?
Yeah.
It's positive, but if you were to draw the line, the slope,
¿Cómo le ponen bien ustedes si vieron los puntos? ¿Así?
Up.
Pues, ¿cómo lo ponen? Es positivo, sí.
¿Cómo dice diagonal?
Que están positivos, ¿no?
Diagonal hacia arriba.
so where would you connect the line? Through which dot?
Todos los conectarían.
What do you think? Going this way
The graphic.
or going this way? You're right, going up, but which way? This way? Up all the way? Or this way? Up all the way?
Sí.
This one? Okay. So you just graph it. So you guys get that?
The other points?
So interesting. They are alone.
The other points, you just leave them there. Because you want, when you graph it, you want to make sure the line is between those points. Let's say if you have another graph that has this, you just want to graph it as close as you can. So you can't go like this or like that. It has to be straight.
La línea tiene que estar más cerca de la mayoría de puntos. Van a quedar unos que no van a ser cerca en la línea, ¿no? O cerca de la línea. Pero tienen que ir en la mayoría de los puntos.
O sea, línea recta.
Sí, hicimos una línea recta, pero tienen que tratar de ponerla.
En donde haya más puntos.
Sí, en donde haya más puntos, porque van a quedar unos que no, como la que está allá arriba, no va a quedar. Pero los que están más cerquitas son los que van a quedar en la línea.
So now, how do you find the slope? Which 2 points do you guys want to use? I need x1, y1, x2, y2. Which one do you guys want to choose?
I can see.
Move the screen down a little bit.
Y2,
Y2,
y
Y1.
minus y1 over y1 minus x1.
Yeah, but what point would you put
¿Cuáles
on
puntos
x1?
van a elegir de la gráfica o de la tabla?
which point would you pick from here?
El primero ponlo
From the graph.
150.
But make sure the line crosses the point. Okay, you wanna pick 151? You wanna pick this one right here?
Pero elegir mayor,
12?
tiene que haber la misma.
No, 2, 5.
5, 5? Okay.
Pero
So now what's the formula again?
Y2 minus x2
Y2
minus
minus,
y1. Huh?
so 255 minus 150. 1.
8,
And what about the x2? x2, 12 minus 1? So what's 12 minus 1?
100.
What's 255 minus 151?
104. 104 or 104.
104.
So what is that? What's 104 divided by 11? What is it?
Wait. No, división. O hacer simplificar.
So what's 104 divided by 11? Nine? 9 what?
9 over.
dividan los papeles. ¿Quieren papeles?
So what's 10 divided by 11?
Nine.
11 por 10, 100.
Sure?
Wait.
9.
¿Qué es? 104, ¿no? 104 dividido por entre 11. 104 dividido en 11.
9.45.
9.5?
Yeah. No,
9.4?
yeah.
Okay, so now what do you do with the slope? What's the equation line?
This is M.
Yeah, so what's the equation of the
Y
line?
equal MA plus B. Yes, Y, we got this one.
The first one? Okay, so y is 151?
Equal
M is
9 point period.
9.4.
Multiplied by 1. Equal. Yeah, that's right.
So what's 151 minus 9.4?
Is equal 9.4.
What's, so now it's minus, right? Minus 9.4. It's 151 minus 9.4.
140, 142 equal 0.6.
Después de la resta.
100, 18 minus 9 4 equal 142.
So 142.6.
Point 6.
Okay, so now when you plug it in, what do you get? You get y 9.4 x plus you can rhyme that out to 143, right? So I'm gonna put 143 here. Run it off. So that's the equation. So what if I give you another question saying, using this equation, find the vertical drop for 20 years. So what would you do?
Next.
So if this was your x and this was your y, so what would you plug it in? So y equals 2.
20.
So what's your y now? In 20 years.
101. 118 and 1.
What is 180?
181.
What is 180? What is that? You multiply?
20 times.
22?
Like that?
No.
181?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No boy.
1,
181
18,
plus 143. What's your y now?
2, all to 3, 2, 4,
2?
2, all to 3.
223.
What's 181 plus 143?
That's not.
It's 180.
2000. 2001.
324.
3?
188, 0.
So your y? What's 20 times 9.4?
Is
1? So is it 181 or 188? 188?
Lo multiplica 188. Se equivocaron ahí. 188.
Okay. So what's 188 plus 143 now?
1, 8,
So you got 1.
8.
Sí, sale 188.
So 9. 3.
3, 31, 3,
So in 20 years, the vertical drop will be 331.
Ven ahí, están prediciendo el futuro. En 20 años va a haber, basado en la fórmula que encontraron,
O sea, como
Se va a reducir en el futuro. En el futuro van a ser ricos.
Basically, with this equation, you're predicting the trend, like whether it's going to be positive, continue, or it's going to drop.
están prediciendo si va a subir o bajar.
So it was from 400, now we went to 331. So slightly dropped a little bit. But we were following the line, right? So I'm sure that this point will hit this line right here, the graph that we drew earlier. So you use this, like I said, the equation to predict the next trend. You can use this on your cell phone bill, or if you guys want to open a business, you can actually use that. You use this to basically, set your price, fixed price, your fixed costs, variable costs. So you use this to see like where you at, to prediction.
Dice para predecir. Pueden usarlo para varias cosas, para lo que pagan para los celulares, otro servicio, es para predecir cuánto va a cambiar el costo o lo que sea.
Cuando van en una bicicleta.
Velocidad, puede ser, es la relación, ¿no? Pero es para predecir cómo va a cambiar.
Okay.
So now I'm gonna ask you guys to get in groups of 4.
Se van a poner en grupos de 4, ¿ok? Okay. Entonces elijan sus
Yo valgo por 6.
4.
Groups of 4. Come on.
Me?
So, right, all of your
Groups of 4.
groups of 4, 3 to 4.
Pero dígasela a ellos. No puede estar folclórico.
No, porque hoy iba a hablar contigo.
So I'm gonna leave this up so you guys can see and try to model it.
Yo salí con ellos.
¿Cómo están?
The goal was to facilitate student learning and understanding the concepts of mathematical language and scatter plots. And I use social constructivism in terms of collaborating them to work together, and by emphasizing the connection of students' previous knowledge to new knowledge to create understanding of the material. And the reason why I chose social constructivism is that it would help the student to understand the material better. For instance, if I cannot explain it to them the way they had hoped for, this way other student could actually, hey, you know what, I understand the problem, and they might learn it best from their peers than they would just from me alone. So that's the strength. Group work helps each student understand the concept better. The weakness, however, a student may rely on others' input without questioning their self, and which will limit their own understanding. So I try to be present during the activity, and the host teacher was being supportive and helped me, for instance, giving me graph paper and making sure that every student was listening. And I love the fact that everyone was paying attention, they were engaged, and because I use what they have learned previously to kind of introduce the scatter plots, they were motivated and eager to answer every question that I had come up with. Then you'll know that learning has taken place because they understood what they learned from the teacher, and that also you kind of assume that the teacher did a great job in terms of teaching them the concepts of linear functions.